Good evening again. The long-awaited redevelopment and expansion of boating and day tourist facilities at Milford Sound looks set to proceed next year. There have been no objections to the proposed reclamation of tidal land needed for car parking, and working drawings for the project are now being prepared. Alan Brady has the details.
It's estimated 27% of all visitors to New Zealand end up at Milford Sound. Add to that the thousands of New Zealanders who make the pilgrimage to this scenic shrine, and you have rush hour congestion on a big city scale at busy times of the year. There have been a succession of reports on what to do about the problem over the past 20 years. Only now are all the parties agreed on a course of action. The favoured plan involves the reclamation of 2.3 hectares of tidal land at Freshwater Basin. This will allow for the extension of coach and car parking in front of the Milford Hotel and the expansion of wharves and visitor facilities near the present jetty. A spokesman for the consortium which will carry out the work said today tender documents are being prepared and, subject to finance, work should get underway early next year. The total costs over $13 million. Passenger levy of $3 a head on THC and Fiordland Travel launch passengers will bring in a third of that. A third will be loan money, and government agencies are being pressured to provide the rest. The project will take over 2 years to complete, and until it's ready, it'll be congestion as usual at the country's most famous cul-de-sac.
Police have recaptured a 20-year-old who's alleged to have escaped from the cells in Oamaru last night. Timothy Irving had been remanded in custody after appearing on 12 charges in Oamaru court yesterday. He was cited and recaptured soon after midday today and has since appeared in court charged with escaping. He's now in custody in Dunedin. The Otago Regional Council says it's prepared to show its teeth when it comes to getting the best deal for the province out of the giant government forestry sell-off. The council intends to slap bonds on any forestry buyer, much the same as is done with mining, to ensure they leave the land in a better condition than they found it. Michael Lynch reports.
Trees will be falling in a big way around Otago over the next decade, for it's estimated with the forest sell-off, Otago's production alone will more than double. There's a capacity for 2.5 million cubic metres of timber a year, expected to attract bids from around New Zealand and overseas. With an estimated return of up to $300 million, the government's imposed very few conditions to attract the widest possible range of buyers, but this hasn't impressed the Regional Council.
I'm very unhappy because it's very important that conditions are set down. We have a responsibility under the Act for the soil and water values for pests and noxious plants, and it's very important that these things are taken care of when we're clearing these areas or clear felling them for forestry production.
The Council's prepared to meet the government head-on, and if necessary put clamps on buyers under the powers it assumed from the Catchment Board.
I can't tell you the amount of the bonds. It would depend on the point-by-point basis of the particular application, but certainly it would be a bond to restore the land to a safe condition on the soil and water values.
Otago is one of the first regional councils in the country to show its teeth in this manner. Members felt they had no alternative.
Why didn't central government come in first and establish these things itself?
Because I think the first thing they wanted to do was get a quick return on the forests. But now the people of the regions are making them very aware of the other problems that would be associated in doing exactly that.
The council's due to bring down a firm forestry policy by its December meeting.
Sport now, and the youthful Otago men's golf team got away to a good start in the annual interprovincial tournament today. But while Otago won, the much more experienced Southland team went down in both rounds. And 2 Otago bowlers are in the semi-finals of the Super Bowls tourney in Auckland. Ian Dickerson is leading in his game, but Michael Kernahan lost his first set. Our next story is about a miracle. You might find it a bit hard to believe, but Lee Davies can vouch for it. It's about a dying woman who bought 2 historic churches and, with her 9-year-old son, built a house from them. It's more than 10 years now since Devella and Wayne Gore started this amazing project at Lake Hayes, and Devella is fit and healthy, with a successful career as an artist and painting instructor. She's just launched her book about the whole experience.
The title can be taken either way. For Devella and Wayne, it's a bit of both. Faith helped to build the house, and so did humour. That humour is reflected in the book as Devella looks back on the experiences of a mother and son who built a house and garden with their own hands. Devella's cementing and stonemasonry didn't get off to a good start. There were catastrophes inside too, although you'd never think so today. old bath, which now looks so right, created its own problems. Furthermore, Wayne hated it, and he's still not convinced. But no matter what he disapproved of, he still did the work, and it shows. While the attention to detail makes the house special, Devella is quick to admit all is not as it appears. She begs visitors not to look too closely, especially at the plastering. There were days, she writes, when she would have done anything for a plasterer, even marry one. Throughout the 10 years of house building, Devella has continued to paint. Today she shares her time between teaching art, painting, music, and of course, writing the book on building her blessed house. It was an experience she wouldn't have missed for the world, although it wasn't without its difficulties. But she and Wayne are still speaking, still good friends, in spite of some fundamental differences of opinion.
Yes, Wayne didn't appreciate old things at that stage of his life, and I think that we had one or two clashes. He felt as though if we waited a little longer we could afford something new, and I think we had a few clashes at the beginning. But once Wayne realised that it was coming together and it was beautiful, his confidence in me grew.
There was times there when we weren't sure whether we were going to finish. Things didn't go our way, but generally we sort of stuck together and stuck at it, and we got there.
Devella's book is, of course, dedicated to her son.
Really lovely, isn't it? And if the building's anything to go by, the book should be a really good read. And the delightful cartoons in Devella's book are by Wallace Keown. We'll see you tomorrow night. Good night.